Hello, it's Corey at Peachtree Farm and Greenhouse. We are planting corn today. It feels like we've been all over the country. We got our mum pots, we got fertilizer and some chemicals that we needed. And now we are back home and Micah and Corbin are planting corn. We got pumpkins in the ground and we will soon have more pumpkins in the ground because we bought more pumpkin seed today. I love all the pumpkins, so I guess it's kind of like the flowers. I love all the flowers, so here we are, more pumpkins. We've got a lot of varieties of colors in our mums this year, so if you can't find a color you like, I'm sorry, because we have probably 2 or 3 different kinds in some of them. They're going to be beautiful once again this year. But right now, let's focus on this corn maze. Okay, Corbin, what are you and Daddy doing today?
Planting the corn maze.
Planting the corn maze. What's Daddy doing right now?
I'm not sure. He didn't tell me what he's doing with the buckets. But...
Well, what he's doing right now is stepping off where we're going to put sunflowers.
Oh, yeah.
So this fall when you all come, there's going to be a solid sheet of sunflowers. I'm excited because sunflowers are my favorite. My best friend Hillary made me a sunflower that's in our cabin. It's on the front of our counter. So people have tried to buy that before, but it is not for sale. But I'm super excited to show you all what this is going to look like when it starts coming up. We'll video our progress throughout. Micah, what are you doing?
Laying off where my end rows need to be.
Okay.
So it's nice and straight, and we leave room for your special sunflowers.
Isn't he cute?
Look like Dan Berkshire.
I don't think you're as jolly as Dan.
I'm working on it. We must have been good boys because Mom brought us cookies while we're planting corn. The ground's still a little hard. Having trouble getting it in the ground, ain't we? One thing we're not having trouble with though is getting these cookies in our mouth. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
So last night we planted corn with a 2-row John Deere 7000 planter. It was a 4 or 6-row and it's been modified. And this is the mechanism that picks up the corn. See, down in there's these little bitty fingers. Right there's one. And there you can see the shine of another one there. So there's those little fingers in there. They pick up one seed kernel and drop it down this chute, which goes in between the coulters on the cutting disc on the planter and drops the seed for you. Well, we modified these, not these that we're taking off, but these that we're putting on, where they will pick up pumpkin seeds and drop them or in the spacing that we want them to be at. So we took out every other finger inside the pickup. So it spaces it about twice as far, and then we slow the gear ratio down on the planter so that it spaces it even more. So a low population for the corn setting. I don't know if you can see down in there. Right there's one. And you can't see another pickup there because I removed them. There's another. Way back in there. So I've removed every other one instead of having the spacing so quick. You just take a pair of small bolt cutters and cut them out. It's really that simple. These old planters are really simple and easy to use. There's not a whole lot of moving parts to them. So change your population by just switching out a few gears. And you can change your population even more by modifying these pickups.
Missed out.
And just that fast, we're planting pumpkins. So last night while we were planting corn no-till, we were having trouble getting the seed in the ground because the ground is still hard. Even though we've had 4/10 of an inch of rain on Sunday, we still are so dry, it just soaked that right up like it never even happened. We're going into work ground with these pumpkin seeds this morning, so we don't need so much down pressure. So this is how you adjust that down pressure. We're going to move this forward and not have as much down pressure on pumpkin seeds because we don't want to get them too deep. So if you noticed, it moved that right there, so it won't let these wheels come up as far. So the farther these wheels go up, the farther that coulter can go in the ground, which gets your seed deeper. So keeping these wheels down farther doesn't let that one go down as far, so your seed won't be as deep. That's where we need it for pumpkins. So like I was saying earlier too about the population, we want to get that as low as we can get it, and here's how you get that, because we don't need as many pumpkins per acre as we need corn. So it looks like about as low as we can go here on this graph anyway. It shows me 13,100. Plus I've removed those pickups, the finger pickups, so that'll drop it even lower. So you adjust the sprockets here just like this. I've loosened this set screw so it allows the tension to come off this. And you have two different gears here, and it tells you which gears you need. Right here you got the driver gear and the driven gear. So we want the 7 on the driver and the 14 on the driven. And I already have the driven on the 14 tooth gear. Driver gear I need on the 7, so it's right here. So I need to move this over one. Take out a spacer. Really want to work. Put our spacer back in. And put our tension back on it. Make sure that chain's as straight as you can get it. Keeps things from getting in a bind after a while. Now, so you turn these to get the tension back on the chain to hold it. Tighten down this screw so it holds the tension on there. So here's what we got. This is the driven shaft, and this is the driver shaft. And then these two, when they turn, they take the slack out of the chain. So to plant corn last night, we had it on the 14 tooth. I'm sorry, the 15 tooth down here and the 14 tooth up there. But to plant the pumpkins, we're gonna need it on the 7 tooth back here and still on the 14 tooth up here. Let's go plant pumpkins.
Yep. Love pumpkins.
So some of the seeds we have are pretty small. So I just marked the rows out with the planter, and Corey and Corbin are planting them by hand. Just to make sure we get the spacing good on the small seeds. That don't make no sense. Corn cob pumpkins? Corbin, are you planting corn cobs or pumpkins?
Corn cobs.
So that was all of the Everest pumpkins. That's a new variety for us this year. Excited to see how it does. Now we're on to a pumpkin called Denali. We grew that one last year. It did really good. We also grew Gladiator and Kratos, and they did really good as well. It seems that more people are concerned with how good the stem looks than the pumpkin itself, which is okay. I mean, we can make that happen. So you can see it's got this little guard on top of the seed hole right down in here. When you're dealing with this few of seeds, you've got to be sure that you get it all the way down in there. So I'm trying to take my time. Make sure we get them down in there. And those finger pickups will pick up every last one of them. It's amazing how simple and good this planter works. So that was about 500 seeds right there, and I did the same on the other side. That should get us several rows with the spacing we have. So right there is where we're going to start planting the Denalis. We are about 24, 25 feet away from our next row, and we leave this space open. Now, if you're familiar with pumpkins at all, you'll understand why we do that. It's because a pumpkin plant is one of the most amazing things in the world. It'll stay small for a while, and then all of a sudden when it takes off and starts growing, it just gets absolutely huge. So we put that space between the rows, and especially on varieties, so number one, we can tell the difference. We try to keep a log of them, but sometimes things happen, you lose that. But also because we need a path down through there to be able to drive through, whether we're spraying the pumpkins or harvesting the pumpkins. But these pumpkin plants, they are some of the most amazing plants ever. They will grow like wildfire. I mean, spread like crazy. So you want to leave plenty of space between them in the row, and you want to leave plenty of space between the rows. So something else I want to mention, and I hope nobody's judging me on it, but that is the amount of dirt clods that are in this field. This is not your typical worked ground for around here. But we just had 4/10 of an inch of rain over the weekend, and you can tell this ground was so dry and hard, it's still hard to break that up. And really, it pulled the guts out of that little tractor trying to plow that ground, even with just a 2-bottom plow. But the reason why we were doing this last minute and we didn't turn the ground earlier is because the farm that we were going to put these on, we found out was actually sprayed with a chemical that carried over to this year. So we were scrambling last minute to think, where are we going to put our pumpkins? And this is where we came up with. So this is about as good as we could get the ground before we had to get them planted before the rain came. Corey stuck all the empty bags from the pumpkin seeds in my bibs. Now I'm starting to look like Big Dan. Maybe I'll grow up and be half the man you are one day, buddy. So now's the time for the rundown on what we planted this year. Funnel cake, Lumina, orange peel, corn cob, fairy tale, orange striped cushaws, green striped cushaws, small warty gourds, moonlight with daybreak and calico bells, packer, denali, and gladiator, gooligan, autumn wings gourd, county fairs, and last but not least, for my kids, they wanted to see if they could grow some big pumpkins, so we went with the Atlantic Giant. It was kind of a last minute decision. I know there's other hybrids out there.
Just like that, pumpkin planting for 2023 is done. It's been some late nights and early mornings. I'm ready to get back to some normalcy. Thank you all for coming along with the pumpkin planting ride with us. We will keep you updated as the season progresses. Have a great day.